Hi, everybody. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin, and welcome to ICC's Banter Blitz, where I take on all comers in Blitz and, talk during the games, tell some stories, maybe toss out a few gentle insults, or maybe a little bit of instruction, whatever comes to mind. Um, it should be fun. It usually is. And the last couple of times, I've been on a little bit of a roll. I've won all the games. I think twice in a row, and um, maybe make a clean sweep 3 times in a row. I've got my USA T-shirt because it is, after all, going to be the 4th of July soon, and getting into patriotic mode. Um, I'll do that instead of going to the World Open this year. So I see people lining up to challenge me, and we will have the first game on shortly. Um, and I want to remind you guys that I'm usually the rustiest right at the beginning because I very rarely play blitz chess these days, or really any chess, but even less blitz chess than tournament chess. So, okay, here we go. First game. Lost 5 seconds there. Turlock, who looks to be from the flag to be British. And okay, we got a Sicilian. I just wrapped up writing an article for New in Chess yearbook on the Sicilian, not on E6, unfortunately. Um, but that I'm looking to write about next week. So it's not next week, but in the next issue, which will be 3 months from now. So maybe I'll be writing about this game. Who knows? But I have a new column there. I used to write Benjamin's opening takes, aka BOT, bot. But now, B5, okay. But now I'm going to be writing a new one called Repertoire Building with Benjamin. And I think that should be pretty good because it's really kind of going to be meant for the with the club players in mind, just helping people with a practical, put together a practical opening repertoire where they don't have to know giant gobs of theory. They could just sort of learn certain positions, and that will help them what to do. Now, this one is a bit familiar to me because I once had this position against Alexander Shabalov with black in the U.S. Open, and I got my head handed to me. Bishop e7. I played knight bd7, and that did not work out after a4 and a knight sacrifice on d5. But I have my doubts about this one. It's sort of looking like typical Sicilian sacrifice here. That this particular line, this kind of Paulsen with the competing fianchettos, actually can be very, very dangerous for black. There are a lot of tricks like this. The knight d5 was one I mentioned, and here I'm getting some nice tactics going on that diagonal. Well, I mean, I didn't calculate it, so maybe maybe there could be some flaws in this, but at the very least, it's going to be going to be 3 pawns and then a big attack. I was assuming that I was winning back the piece as well, but it doesn't look to be a huge amount of risk. The way this shapes up. Okay, so yeah, well, there's no reason not to take the knight because I'm getting a knight to d6 anyway. And then, yeah, so queen moves, and I take d6, and now king has to move. And then the plan is to take knight takes b7. And don't see any reason to vary from the plan. e5 is also interesting. Let's see, takes. Is there any trick? I don't really see any trick. It seems like I just take back the piece. And queen takes b7, e5. But otherwise, I think the knight is just getting out. So I've got a whole bunch of pawns. But I think that this is a cheap lesson for Turlock because the move order is very very tricky in this particular line, and this is one he's going to remember that Bishop E7 really didn't defend against my threats. Okay, knight C6. So I can take the bishop. I can check and take the knight, which would be convenient, but bishop's opposite color. I'll just take the bishop, actually, because now I'm threatening queen d6. Well, I did say I was threatening queen d6, so okay, there. Go from a piece down to a piece up, and there you go. Thank you, Turlock. That's sometimes you can be, a pretty decent player or look like a decent player from the beginning, but you make an inaccuracy which has just a huge tactical flaw, and then suddenly the game is over and there's not much chance to fight back. And that was one of those cases after knight takes b6, b5 rather. The game's just over. Okay, so Nimzo Indian, always happy to have a chance to practice this. And there's so many different move orders. Usually I play castles with the idea of playing d5 here, and this line allows black to just retreat the bishop. And you say, well, what did you play bishop b4 for? Well, white has put the knight on e2, which is not really that great for development. Now c5, this move is probably good against bishop d6 with tempo, but without tempo, it's interesting. Now I can attack the pawn chain in a couple different ways. I can go for b6 somewhere or e5. Okay, I'm just going to play in the center. After, I spent all that time talking about it. Okay. So well, I guess this could be a real pawn sacrifice, but to hold the pawn, he has to play. He'd have to play f4, which is probably not worth it. Okay. Well, bishop g4, bishop h4 doesn't really seem to do anything. Okay, I better just take the pawn back. But of course, by playing e5 right away, I had to move my knight a couple of times. So, well, this is certainly shaping up as being quite reasonable for white. Chess Gladiator played the opening very quickly. He's still got 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to have to play, What are you going to do? But this looks like actually pretty reasonable position that my opponent has here. Okay, so let me try to shut down that diagonal a little bit. Take away f5. Yeah, so I should have either maybe played very early a5, or maybe just knight bd7 and e5. I didn't really need to play as I did with e5 right away. h3. Okay, he's playing some he's playing some good moves. This Chess Gladiator from the USA, and. What am I going to do? Okay, well, I just have to play some quick moves. But I have a little bit of a problem that my bishop on c8 is out of the game. Now, I wanted to at some point put it to g4, but he stopped me with h3. But what's going on? So if he tries to get an e4, the pawn on f4 is hanging. So maybe next I'm going to go knight e6 and challenge that knight, and then I can start developing. So even though I kind of had to slow play this, I just sort of maneuvered my pieces. I put my dark square bishop is not in the way anymore. G7 is a good square. My rook is operating in the E file. So I feel like I'm gradually coming out, but white, has a move or two maybe to try to create some unpleasantness for me. Queen d2. Okay, so he's defending the pawn on f4. But I think that if I trade these knights, then Yeah. Oh, he wants to replace it with the other knight. Okay, not a bad idea. Let me just take that. I have to do more playing and less talking. Okay, let me just drop this knight into e4. Okay, and well, now I've got the e file, those light squares permanently, so I can just bring my bishop out and we're coming to e8. And well, that's the good part of it. I mean, the other part is that the light squared bishop playing against his knight is not entirely happy, but you can't have everything. So, sort of classical theory would suggest that White would want to trade off the dark squared bishops. Although a lot of people would be tempted to keep them on for possibility of bishops opposite colors, but there's no way I'm going to take that knight with my dark squared bishop. I would think about taking it with my light squared bishop, but yeah, okay. So knight b3. Um, it's sort of possible to play f6 to keep my bishop, to keep bishops on the board. I'm actually going to do that. I'm actually going to do that just because then he can't be 100% comfortable on the dark squares. But also, my king could actually get into some trouble if the dark square bishops go off. But I was kind of surprised that he didn't play the bishop, the knight in the other direction to f3. Okay, so he's looking to. I see what he wants to play e4. Okay, well, I just have to get going here. e4, and I think I'll just play over. Okay, I can get an isolated pawn, but my bishop gets a little bit more active. So, but meanwhile, he took a lot of time on some of those moves, so I'm actually a little bit ahead on the clock. All right, Chess Gladiator giving me a good challenge early on. Get the blood pumping, and I feel like last time I didn't really get a whole lot of real true challenges. Okay, I think this is a useful pin for me. Bishop a4. I think that will cause some confusion. Come in somewhere. Check. I think maybe I can win something here. He's thinking about, no, queen f1 is not going to help. Queen f1 is not going to help. Now I go for this pin. And that's going to be a whole rook, actually, or a whole piece. Okay, thank you, Chess Gladiator. That was a tough game. Really just played to equalize there after a while. And bit by bit, have things work out. All right. Who do we got now? Fork and Pin. Fork and Pin is a regular Banter Blitz opponent. I never really checked to see what other players are doing, but I imagine that probably a lot of players play in all of the Blitz sessions. But I know the Fork and Pin has been to mine a few times. Bishop b3. Okay, does he want a marshal? No, he's not even going to try for marshal. I wasn't really not in the mood to play marshal. Really, I'm never in the mood ever to play the marshal attack with White. It's just too much of a hassle trying to defend for one measly pawn. That's in my old age, I've really come to value initiative so much more over material than I used to, and I see, how grandmasters play nowadays, like, how Kramnik played today. Basically, just gave a pawn in the opening. Not that he didn't have compensation; he certainly did, but just to try to create a little something going. He gave a pawn and quickly got a big counterattack going. So, yeah, I just don't really like to play. Now, here, Fork and Pin has traded on D4 a little bit earlier than usual, which gives me the possibility to put my knight on C3, so I'm going to do that. If it gets chased over to the other side, I can always bring it to E2 and G3. That's just another route to get there. But in the meantime, maybe I can use this knight on C3, have some ideas of coming into D5. First take on F6 and then go knight D5. So I think that the move order here for black was a little inaccurate. Queen C7 defends everything in the center, so do that without trading on D4 and letting my knight come to C3. Okay, so I could drop my. Okay. I actually had a little tactical opportunity. I could have gone straight in with Bishop F6 and created something hanging down there, but sometimes the threat is stronger than the execution, and that's what's going on here because I'm going to win in exchange. But what I could have done is I could have taken an F6, followed by knight D5, queen moves, knight takes F6, and when the queen recaptures, D takes E5, and if D takes E5, the bishop on D7 would be hanging to the queen. So I could win material like that, but looks like I'm getting some material anyway. And maybe I can even take another one. No baseball tonight. Okay, looks like I just got a message. There's no baseball tonight. Should take this pawn on E5. Could also play Queen D5. Yeah, okay, I'll just take this pawn. Because I've got two pieces. I'm hitting two pieces. The knight on H5 is also hanging here. So he's got to trade something here. Then I'm going to start looking at the back rank. Yeah, except the problem is I'm attacking this guy too. The knight on H5. I did say that, right? I don't know if that people are actually, when they're playing, if they're actually listening to my commentary. Every now and then I say things that can be useful. Whoa, Bishop G2. That's one of those things where, Asa Hoffman, the noted blitz specialist in New York City, would say, "What'd you take? What'd you take? It was only a pawn." Right now, I'm just going to hold on to everything. Why not? And block that check. Block that check. Okay, Fork and Pin has had enough. Okay, we're on a roll here. Who will be my next challenger? Borknagar. Okay, that's a new one. I don't believe I played Borknagar before. Okay, D5. Well, it's fine when we get a variety of openings. There have been some days when everybody played E5. Other days everybody played Sicilian. This is one I've been talking about this one recently because sometimes my students face this opening, this Scandinavian with queen takes D5 has become popular lately. I actually do remember having this not that long ago and being somewhat confused about what to do here and then figuring it out. But I can't remember what it was that I did. Okay. All right, let's just go there. And it'll come to me eventually. All right. Can't hurt to play H3. Can it? Castles. Yes, I remember something about when I played H3, the bishop had to take in that game because of bishop h7, but it doesn't look like bishop h7 is going to work here, which is too bad. Yeah, that's too bad. So I've got to do something else. All right, this is slightly unorthodox, but I'm going to say it's going to say going to play g3. I don't know. All right, I'll try it. g3. Just to put the bishop on f4. I don't know if that's worth it, but okay, let me hold on to that bishop. Yeah, okay, my bishop isn't really staying there, is it? Well, sometimes you just sort of move around for a while, and then at some point some good idea pops up, and that's that. Right now I don't really have a great plan as to what to do in this position, so. But in the meantime, I'll just sort of bring some pieces out and see what happens. This pin is a little bit annoying because I'd rather not play g4. Queen b6. Okay, let me just defend that. Yeah, at some point I'm just gonna have to, take a stand and do something here. Maybe play g4. Maybe play c4. See, he's just sort of content to, to kind of move back and forth, really. Queen b6, queen d8. Yeah, well, he's officially playing on the clock now. But okay, that's not the worst strategy. It's I have to kind of prove something. But it would make kind of some decent sense to move a rook. Bring a rook into the game. It can't hurt. Okay, let me just go a3, defend that, come up with a different idea. All right, so should I charge forward with some kind of g4 at some point? It's a good question. Oh, I'm sort of remembering something vaguely that I thought from the last game to line my bishop up behind my queen to get something to come to h7. All right, let's go. Here we go. All right. Here we go. So these pawns are coming forward, give them something to think about. Chase that guy away. And then bring in my knight. What's he thinking about? Okay, 95. Probably a threat of knight f7. It's not really that difficult to stop that threat, but okay, what if I just go for the H file now? See, that's the thing about having a capture on g6 is that sometimes later on you can't prevent the H file from getting opened, and so that's what I'm going for here. Looking for some kind of mate. Yeah. Now, do I have something like that? I don't really want him to take that pawn on e5. I have to admit. I don't really like this move f4, though. But okay, we're just going to have to slow it down. That's all there is to it. So he survived this attack. And now it's going to be a longer game, and not necessarily a position that's that great for me. But what are you going to do? But now I've gone a little bit ahead on the clock. Okay. And now we just play, see what happens. Okay. Play a little aggressive move. Try to take something. Because he's got the queen and knight combination. And actually, that's pretty annoying. I much would have would have preferred trading queens to trading rooks. And I probably should have just kept the rooks on the board, but I didn't really have a mate. Yeah, this is kind of annoying, this kind of thing. Um, now, do I take this pawn or not? Okay, I take the pawn. But it's not so easy. Yeah, he's getting f4, but I actually don't mind that so much because the queens come off the board. And, yeah. Well, let's see. Let's get my king over. Okay, let's get my, oops. Hold that pawn. Okay, let's run with the king. As fast as I can. Run with the king. Try to queen my a pawn if I can. Run with the king. I don't care about the other things. Okay, let's go. Let's go with that guy. Ooh. I think you should have taken that when you had the chance. It's a girl. This was really close. I tell you, I think he should not have actually traded queens, even though he got to take the pawn. If he just moved the queen, that queen and knight against queen and bishop in that position is very difficult for white to play. Because no matter how many pawns I have, he's going to attack me. The queen is eventually going to penetrate either on the d file or the diagonal. You know, I kind of realized that, you know, much too late. Okay, Aaron Trobo has a very cool looking icon as well. Normally people have flags, but I don't know what that. I guess you can custom make an icon for yourself rather than a flag. Okay, so I got to play at least one tango. It's a little bit of a trademark opening for me. So here we go. So I think that looking at that icon, we could suggest that my opponent is rather more from a planet than a country. Okay, this is one of those things you have to not play d6 because of queen a4, you know. There's also always a dilemma as to whether to put the bishop on c5 or b4. It really depends on what white does, but in this case I went there. But the bishop on c5 often leads to a lot of quick attacks on the king side, but sometimes even without the bishop it happens anyway. But notice that the bishop gets outside the chain, and I set up a pawn chain of dark squares, pawns on dark squares in the center. My dark square bishop is outside the chain. In this case, it's traded off. So I don't have a problem there, whereas white put all these pawns in the center on light squares and still has a light squared bishop. Of course, he has two bishops. He's a dark squared bishop too, but the light squared bishop is not very happy. All right, let's go in. And yeah, certainly f5 might be. Now I guess I could have stopped for b6. Actually, I think I will stop for b6 just to prevent c5 from happening, to keep those pawns on the board. Yeah, these sacrifices on on h3 become kind of tempting. Let me just actually play this move just to cover the g5 square. King h2, and maybe I should have done it last move, but I'm tempted to play queen f6. The problem with that is I'm blocking my f pawn, so it's entirely possible I may decide to take that move back. But for now, I'm threatening something, some kind of pseudo sacrifice on the king side, so kind of hard to resist. Also have a little bit of idea of playing bishop a6, but he can defend the pawn on c4 with bishop b3, so it doesn't really help me that much. Yeah, probably f5 is just a normal move, but what happens now? Maybe the knight should move away. Yeah, queen f6 isn't really such a great move. Rook h1, that's... okay, that defends the pawn on h3. On g, yeah, if again, defends against knight g2, but does it defend against knight h3? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, it doesn't. So, kind of a cheap threat on my part, really. He could have played knight g1, I think, would have made sense. And then also getting ready to play g3. So, really, I should have just played f5, I think, because that will get my other pieces into the game. Should I take this pawn on h3? Or should I play knight h4? Or should I play all of these things? Yes, I think I should start with this one. Threat mate. Well, anticipating rook h2, yeah. Okay, and now this one, check, and then comes the knight. So this, I think, should create some problems. If bishop d1, bishop g2, I could take on e4, but bishop g2 is also very strong. So there seem to be there's a lot of threats here. Bishop g2 is a big threat. Rook g1, queen f3 gets mated. Yeah. Well, the thing is, he allowed knight takes h3, but he didn't have to take that knight. He could have just left it as a pawn after that. But yeah, taking on h3 really made things worse, as now the king's side became, well, really blew up. f3. Maybe that's relatively best, to avoid some mates. Okay, let me take that with check, because I can always come back to the g file. Whoa. I mean, well, okay. I mean, had to play king g1. I guess maybe he didn't notice that the king g1 was available. Okay, this is going to set up a whole bunch of mates. Because the problem is knight f3 is a huge threat, as well as a discovery. So anything that defends against a discovery is going to lose to knight f3. Thank you, Aaron Trobo. Well, that's a specialty of mine, and I've won a lot of games like that. It's he played a lot of moves that were plausible on a certain level, but oh, where's my mouse? There, okay, there it is. I couldn't find the mouse for a few seconds. Bacon with fries. That's a cool name, and I'm sort of guessing that's a German flag, but not really sure. As I said on previous Blitz sessions, that I'm very ignorant about world flags. My wife makes fun of me for that. That I guess they learn these things in Ireland, but not so much in the United States. In the U.S. Okay. The book move is to take the bishop on b5, because now I think black gets some problems catching up in development, Because, after all, the problem with this line is that black is making a lot of pawn moves, and white is making a lot of pieces moves. Just the two pawns in the center and captures, and black, all these moves add up. E, D, C, A, all those pawn moves. And so it means that black at least is going to have to sacrifice a pawn. Now, it's always possible to get compensation, but have to sacrifice a pawn at any rate, at least temporarily. Yeah, I wonder if I should have moved that knight. I could have flicked in knight e5 even before taking. Yeah, okay, I probably did not play in the most accurate way, come to think of it. But I've got a pawn in my pocket, at least for now. And my knight f3 is getting ready to move, maybe even to e5 to attack two things at the same time. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I think Bacon with Fries got focus on this knight coming to d4, but surely my knight coming to e5 will be good now, attacking the queen. And next move, I'm going to take something. Oh, okay, I lied, but I don't think this is going to work out for him. My rook is hanging back here, but the other knight comes in. I think this is a little bit of a splat. I think this is going to cost him a piece. The bishop on e7 is going to be. Sometimes you cross your fingers and hope that you're only losing a pawn, but I think it's going to be a piece because I don't see anything but queen c8. And then I can take the bishop and take on e7. I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah. That's not going to help. Now the king side is broken. King side, I've broken you, and now more pieces. More pieces for me. Thank you, Bacon with Fries. Yeah, you walked into those knight moves with knight hits. It's one of those times when the threat was stronger than the execution. I guess he's getting worried about my knights coming in and actually made them stronger. Okay, here is Xena from a country with a big star, yellow star, and a red background. Come on, Xena. This is your big moment. E3! Did he do that on purpose? Sometimes... Ooh, okay. Sometimes, you can drop the pawn. It doesn't make it as far as you want. Okay, he's repositioned the king and the queen. That's very cute. Generally not a real good strategy for winning, but okay. Maybe it's like kind of a confusionary riff. It's a thing that people might do against a computer, I suppose. I remember there was once upon a time, years ago, if you played Blitz against, let's say, Fritz, and you played this kind of hippopotamus, non-engaging kind of approach, it would, take lots of time on its moves, and you could basically run it out of time. But okay, well, he's sort of developing, but he can't castle, so I don't know where he's going to go with that. There might be the thought that, well, it's a way to kind of trick the opponent and make me think about how I'm going to go about doing this. But really, I don't have to think at all because I can play almost any move. Because my opponent's army is not engaging me in any way. So I think that when you don't get the pieces forward at all, it's ultimately not going to work too well. So just not a real big rush to do anything. And I suspect neither is he. H3. Okay, so now let's force something open. I think that kind of busts the strategy because he has to play that, and now everything comes open, and all my pieces are in the center. And well, I assume that Mr. Zena knows this is not classical strategy, but well, you pay your money, you take your choice. Okay, King E1, running away, and what to do? I'm just gonna stick that bishop in there, see how he answers that. I thought that he might. Well, the d pawn is hanging. The d pawn is hanging. Let me take that. That can't hurt. And yeah, okay. I think I'll just take the pawn. Simple. It's one pawn, and then there's going to be some more coming. Yeah. Got him thinking. I think I just won a pawn. Thank you, Zena. Who will be next? I see some unfamiliar names, so I think I'm going to get a new opponent that I haven't played before. Okay. Monarch 1952 from USA. The white game's always disconcerting because, something pops up on the screen and, my clock is ticking and then I have to look around and see, who I'm playing and so on. I get a little bit of a break with black. Okay, Monarch 1952. Come on, your clock's ticking. Time's a wasting. There we go. Sicilian. Okay, I was just writing about this stuff. So let's see if I have to revise my article that I just sent to the publisher. Queen takes. Okay, so in this issue I was writing about this type of approach. Because putting two pawns in the center, it's a good way to play chess if you can manage it. Whoa! Monarch 1952. That's a big move. That's a big move, Castles. That's a bold statement. But I don't know. I don't think you can give the center and put your king over there on the queen side. I don't know why you didn't want to go to the king side. But I know maybe he's just trying to do something different. We'll see. Okay. Let me just attack that knight, and then I'm going to start pointing everything to the left. And I think that's going to hurt a little. It's going to hurt a little. There's a reason why people castle kingside most of the time. I mean, I wonder if anybody's ever done statistics about it. I say that it happens, like kingside castle, like 9 out of 10 castlings. Just guessing, but it's just a lot easier to mobilize that way, and almost always the king is better protected on the king side. So other things being equal, better to go that way. Now, well, looks like there's already tactics here. There's bishop a7, but if I can just play queen d4, and, well, that looks like that's going to be even stronger. So I think could be missing something, but I think that's more punishing. Yeah, king b8 might have actually made that move stronger, because now I'm hitting a7 with check and hitting the knight. Well, he might go knight c6. Even I hadn't thought about that, but that's going to be an extra piece. It's going to be an extra piece, or the king, or maybe both. Yeah, this is going to be maybe both. No, this is just going to be the king. Okay, I've got a big juicy c file. Oh, he did not. No mas. He did not want to see more. He did not want to see more, but yeah, it just wasn't a great idea to castle queenside. It's just too dangerous to put the king over there. And then, having lines get opened is another problem. I mean, sometimes you can castle queenside in a Sicilian, but that one where white has the big center and the space and immediate open line, don't think there's much hope there. But thanks for playing, Monarch 1952. Who's next? Come on, next guy. I'll even let you have white. Okay, Naz, 1702 from USA. Let's go for Sicilian. I think that's the first E4 I had today, come to think of it. I think everybody was either playing D4 or something weird. Yeah, I had a couple D4s and a something weird. I've confused him. I remember when I was just starting out in my third tournament, my opponent played knight f6. I'd never seen Sicilian with e6, and he went e5. I went e5, and he played queen a5 check, and I lost my pawn e5. I was only, like 1,300, but I managed to win the game anyway because he was like 1,300. But I learned a little lesson, like okay, because I'd only seen the Sicilian with d6, like in a dragon, or maybe I'd seen the Richter Rouser, I guess, because I'd seen Fischer Spassky, so I'd seen those games. I guess I'd seen the Poison Pawn. Oh, another huddle from Naz. NAS. I don't know what the NAS is supposed to be for, but okay. Wow. This is what I was just talking about, huh? I was just talking about this. It happened to me, so I'm not making fun of anybody. I did the same thing. When I was starting out. It can happen to anybody. And there went my pawn. Now I managed to win the game somehow. Anyway, okay, I think I'll just retreat my queen and enjoy my booty. Shake my booty and enjoy my booty. I have a good center here. Well, at least, white gets some open lines, right? I have an idea here. Should I go for it? G4. Yeah, let's try this knight G4. Because I'd like to get that bishop off the board. And then I'll own the dark squares. I'll own them. So you can take my knight, but you better not let queen h2 and queen h1 mate. So don't take the bishop on e7. Don't do it. Yeah, okay, that was the best by test. But now my position is a little comfortable controlling the more comfortable controlling those dark squares. It should be, there's a lot fewer technical problems to deal with to take control. Now that extra pawn is really pretty huge now. Castle. And really nothing for white to attack in this position. Try to get back in the game. But now I seemed a little bit confused by my Sicilian. Maybe he's also used to the dragon or the Najdorf and the e6. A lot of what I've noticed about a lot of amateur players is that when they see Sicilians with e6, they get very nervous about bishop b4 pins, and that things like they're afraid to put their knight on c3. They keep the knight back on b1, and that's almost never a really good idea. Okay. Let me grab while the grabbing is good. Okay, well, I suppose he's going to fashion a checkmate somehow. But let me see how he's going to go about doing it. Okay. Queen c3, he wants something like that. Push him back, way back. Now we'll just run some pawns through the middle. Having a lot of extra pawns can be useful in diffusing an attack. Okay, well, he's trying to sneak in here. Just have to make sure I don't allow a checkmate in one. I actually did that a few months ago, and my opponent was courteous enough not to notice it. But the game is about to end, and I made a little careless move. Okay, so I have G7 covered with my queen still. Okay, all right, he ran out of time. Thank you, Naz. So. Who's next? So how many is that? That's like something like 8. I think I'm halfway home, more or less. Depends. The faster I win the games, I guess the more I can get in. The bigger score I can rack up. But okay, so this is Eddington from Canada, and he's got showing a 2216 rating, so I've got to bear down. But okay, if you have a big rating, you can't sneak up. Is the problem? But anything can happen in Blitz. I once did this in a tournament against a talented young kid, and he just he thought I was just completely making something up, and then I pointed out that this stuff has been played by a lot of 2750 grandmasters. The position is a little more common with both sides being castled. Whether that makes a huge difference, I don't know. Well, it makes one difference. I'm going to play h3 now. So usually with white castling, black plays knight d4. Well, okay, I feel I've got a free move there. Okay, let me keep my bishop. I had a little bit of a similar game against Alex Fishbein in the New Jersey Open last year. Yeah. And let's see, did I? Yeah, and I think I just took a lot of things in that game. I kind of like that I force him to take there because now I have more pawns in the center. But it's, white playing for, a smallish advantage. Okay. Well, now I have to feel not being castled here. I probably should just take that. hmm So Eddington is playing a very solid game, no question. I wanted to play. Okay, now I can play my queen to b3. I wanted to play my queen to b3, but I was a little afraid being uncastled that something was going to happen in the A file. So first, get everything connected, and now I can probe a little bit. Whoa, king f7. Feel like I should be able to do something about that. I don't know. Should I just charge in the center now? d4. Yeah, I think I will actually. It's not really part of the strategy, but the king on f7, I think it's not so easy for black to untangle that. I think just trade that, and well, if he takes with the knight, then the b5 pawn drops, so I think he has to take with the queen or the rook. And now I sort of have an idea of d5, maybe? Rook b1 also. Both tempting. D takes e5 is tempting also. I'll just go d5 directly. I think that's going to win something, actually. Actually, I'm not sure why I think it's going to win something, but I don't think it's going to be so easy to defend that. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess the rook is defended, but it's certainly tricky for black. Wow, a lot of king moves. A lot of king moves. Okay, not so easy though. How to take advantage of that? That's a good move, king e7. Looks like it. Let me try probe with this check. And then, where is he going? Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame, He played a good game and then he, just overlooked something. I guess he was thinking I'm going to take the pawn on b5, but yeah, that was the idea that the queen couldn't interpose. So anyway, tough game, Eddington. But yeah, if I see a higher rating, then maybe I'm going to concentrate a little bit more. And if I'm, really paying attention, then I should be able to win a blitz game. Okay, so looks like yeah, I'm not sure if I should play c5. I think I'm just maybe not going to do that, just in case something comes along there. Just keep my bishop out there. Okay. Well, if I was looking to pre-move, I would have gotten into a lot of trouble there. Okay, let me chop this knight. And here we go. So this is Rachov, and he also has a picture. Oh, he has a picture and a flag. Yeah. Actually, I have a picture too. I didn't. Just that mine is very small at the bottom, and his is very big. All right, knight c6. Well, this is the problem with e5 when the bishop can come out, because it's very hard to hold the center. And a4. All right, take first, ask questions later. a5. Okay. But what if I take that? Mm, if I take, he takes and knight b3, and he takes my queen. I take his queen. He goes bishop b5. Then he has a lot of pins. Tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay. All right. I'll take the pawn. The pawn looks kind of sporty to do so. Perhaps not the wisest move. Oh, I thought he was going to take with the bishop. Oh, okay, well, that's significantly less challenging. Yeah, this is a big problem now. The rook is going to drop. Yeah, that's two rook drops in a row. That puts a damper on the game. He's next. So that was okay. Oh, here we go again. Black Cat 11 from the U.S. Like me, American Grandmaster. One British player once said that I was so American, he started calling me Stars and Stripes. Black Cat 11, come on, you're up. Don't give me time odds. Everything's kind of stacked in my favor as it is. Really. Really. Go ahead. Come on. Here's your chance. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Hmm. Maybe I scared him off. You know, sometimes you get in the queue and then, you know, you're waiting, and then you go to the bathroom, or you go get your coffee, and you come back and your clock is ticking. Could happen to anybody. Maybe it's a psych out, you know. It's going to get the clock down, and it's going to get me all excited, and then, you know, I'm going to rush, and I'm going to blunder some pieces, and then he's going to win. No, I don't think so. All right. Hey, okay, move. Hey, Black Cat says hey, but he's not moving anything. Oh, is he stuck or something? What's he? No, I don't know. I think he had some kind of technical problem. I don't know what happened there, but he did not make any moves. So now we have lazy peon. Peon, of course, means pawn. F5. What do I want to do against this? All right, let's try that. D3. Knight C3 used to be the main line, but this is kind of now the thing. Doot, 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 doot. All right, I put my bishop on e3 to stop him from coming bishop c5. And bishop b4 check is something they do. That does discourage my knight from coming to c3, so it's not necessarily a gain tempo for me. Bishop a5, okay. But I usually feel that if I can get c3 with the tempo, it's probably useful. Maybe my knight will come to c4 with another tempo. All right, so he's not too concerned about me taking the e5 pawn, which is probably how you should play the Schliemann, after all. Just not worrying about it. And, well, I don't know. I suppose, should I take that pawn? I kind of feel like I should, but I'm not sure that I want to. Not sure that I want to. And I think I'll actually just castle. Because I could have taken the knight just to see which way he would capture, which is not real clear to me, whether he wants to take with the b pawn or the d pawn. But I have some ideas on d6 that I could try to grab a pawn. Queen e7. Well, he's really going through great lengths not to play d6, which is really quite interesting to me. Yeah, what to do about all this? Knight c4. And then what? All right, well, let me try something. Well, let me try something. Queen a4. Try to disturb his pawn structure. Threatening, of course, to take the knight and the bishop. So I'm going to, I'm going to take on b6. Because maybe he'll take with the pawn. You know, Kramnik offered his rook in the corner today, and it wasn't good to eat, as Hoifan found out. Okay, so pawn structure is good. Well, I've taken up an awful lot of time here. I guess I better start moving a little faster. Sometimes you get carried away. The position is interesting, right? And this, too much banter and not enough chess. Okay, let me grab that pawn. Okay. So Lazy Peon is kind of playing this in true Schliemann style, that he's looking for the initiative, and he's not too worried about being down a pawn. So respect. So now that's a strange move, though, because Black really has to look for counterplay on the king side. I was thinking a move like knight h5, knight coming to f4, and Black would get some play Or maybe I just played G3, but anyway, I was much more concerned about him going on the king side. Oh, I could have maybe taken a pawn there, but okay, I'm not really too worried about this. Now I've got everything consolidated, and it's going to be a little unpleasant for him, pawn down. But I have to keep making quick moves because I'm going to get low on time. C5, okay. Let's make Luft. Let's make a few quick moves. Huh. Okay. Yum. Oh, what'd you take? Check. Okay, I forgot about the queen coming back. I should have taken the knight. I could have taken the knight and played check. Yeah. But now, what should I take first? All right. Let's not think about this too much. Can take that, can I? Okay, lazy peon. Good game. You played. I like how you played in the kind of the gambit mode. You're welcome. But you needed to go for the play on the king side. That's what you want. And also, the playing on the king side against the king is the most annoying to deal with in blitz because you slip up and your king gets in trouble. It can all come crashing down. All right, so this is Trev 1. Hard to say. It's British, and Bishop D7. Okay, and yeah, I think this line throws off people a little bit when white doesn't take on D5. Avoid certain possibilities for black, but black has to be really careful that when the center gets opened up, he's ready to develop the king side quicker. Bishop D7 is not really a necessary move. It's one of those cases where you don't have to break a pin right away. I think I'll hold on to my bishop. I had a game a little bit like this earlier today. Oh, I smell queenside castling, but I don't think I can recommend it so much. Oh my goodness. What did I do? Really, what did I do? Let me just pin that knight. Encourage him to castle on the queen side. If that's what he wants. You want it? Yeah, okay, you got it. You want it? You got it. Give the people what they want. I was tempted to play G3, to play Bishop F4, but just part of me just couldn't weaken my king side like that, so I went for this one. Yeah, but the problem is, where do you go now? You got no squares for the queen. See, I did it the sneaky way. The sneaky way. And see, before you attack a piece, you got to ask yourself what's going to happen when it moves. And this is going to kind of collapse the black position a little bit. A little bit. Maybe a lot. Oh, well, I think it would have been better off to. It would have been better to give a piece, but I don't know. All right, I don't think it's going to get much kingside attack there. 5. All right, let's start initiating trades. 4. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Okay, I think it's would be sporting to take all these pawns. Okay. I think it'd be hard to construct any kind of way that I could actually get checkmated with the queen for a bishop. But I applaud the efforts to do so. I think that knight's trapped. The knight is trapped. I think Trevone is, or Trev 1, is going to run out of pieces. But he really was a game sort of fellow. He was not put off by early loss of material. That's for sure. He's in there fighting. But like I said, he's going to run out of pieces. Oh, actually finished that game with more time than I started. That was kind of surprising. I didn't think I played that fast, but okay. Thank you, Trev1 or Trevone. Trevon. I don't know. What do we got here? Shaftcat from Canada. Okay. I think I've played him before. I pre-moved a little bit there. Okay, get a little practice in the Sicilian. This is where, yeah, people usually play rook e1, but I usually would not play with rook e1 because I like to do that. I like to attack the king side. But, you know, if I'm black, I kind of like the fact that white has put the pawn on h3 to get this g4 move in. Okay. All right. Start, you know, setting up for kingside attack. I can see. Get my defenses ready. Looking for a counterattack. Okay. No, slightly tempted to play d5, but I don't think it's really there. I think I'm supposed to wait, continue to wait here. 5. Okay. All right. We take that square. It's not that actually that easy to get a breach in the king side, even with the pawns thrown up like that. Oh, did I had d5? I had d5 there actually, hitting the bishop, the knight on g3. Yeah, f6, direct f6. Okay. With knight on g3, I think I want to play g6. I don't want to let that knight come to h5. I think I'll get something going before he gets a mate on the in the H file. Hopefully, that would be the plan. This is an interesting game. I mean, both sides have an awful lot of time on the clock. Right? Thinking about d5. Uh, all right, here we go. If you can get in on the H file, you can mate me, but you have to get two pieces to the H file. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I'm just going to take it back. And if he takes that pawn on d5, he's going to get pinned up. But very spirited attack by Shafkat, just throwing everything forward, not even bothering to develop the bishop. But okay, now he does. Better late than never, but probably a good idea. Okay. Push that pawn, try to open something up there. Come to think of it, that might have been a good moment to give a check. If I give a check on the a7 g1 diagonal, if I force the king to the h file, it could be very hard to to get a checkmate going with the king there. It can even backfire on him sometimes. Oh, I don't think there was any reason to do that. I think that now I'm going to take the knight. I thought he should just play knight e4. I thought that maybe d4 wasn't really that good a move to bring his knight to the center. That I should have done something else. Not sure what. But I think that I'm going to get a discovery with my knight on d7 to take something. Like now. I guess it can't hurt to take on b2. Yeah. I would think that I want to remove this pawn on f6. That should help the defense, I'm pretty sure. And now comes the counterattack. Classical theory. So I guess I could move the queen somewhere. And then, for my next trick, I don't really want to take the bishop on e4, because then his knight comes in. No, I definitely don't want a knight on e4. Yeah. So what do I do then? Yeah, this is a little tricky. I don't want to just go back so much, but let me I'll just go knight g4. That might be asking for a little bit, but I doubt that he can really do too much to me there. If he takes a knight, I have check with my queen, and then I can take. Okay, so now I can take back with the knight, which I think I have to do because I don't want him to take my knight on g4. But now everything is set up. This is clear. A big counterattack is coming on the dark squares. This is just how HOF GM Johnny Fedorovich would do it for black. He puts his rook on E8 and bishop on F8, and then oh, there goes the queen. Clink, clink. Thank you, Shavkat. I like it. You came at me. I appreciate that. You weren't playing for time. Just go right at me, but I think that I should be able to handle such a direct attack. Okay, so this is Masker, and that looks like a cat on top of a book for his picture. And I do not know what flag that is. Red, white, and red, it looks like. I'm ignorant about these things, I'm afraid. So I like to mix it up a little bit. I castled, I played D3, I played knight C3, a little bit of everything. Yeah, okay, so now the thing is that in this move order, I can actually transpose it into a kind of modern Steinitz. Okay, so this is from Peru. Masker is from Peru. And this apparently is the last game. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. Bishop G4. Oh, I don't know about that. I think we have a Morphy versus the ally situation here after D takes E5. That sometimes the pin is not so effective. If he takes back on E5, then I can trade and get out of the pin. So here, yeah, I was able to get rid of that pin, and I don't see any reason to take with the pawn, I have to say. I think this is one where you just castle and white just plays with a positional advantage. Weaken pawns on the queen side without any compensation, no two bishops or anything. So just a hard life for black, I think. Well, I think I'm going to do it again. I don't know. Maybe have to change my strategy next time to try to be more sporting. Because the first couple of times I was dropping some games and it was kind of interesting. But now, I don't know. I feel like I should give people a chance. Rook B8. I'll figure out what to do with my bishop later. First, let me threaten to come in to F5. And this kind of thing usually is unpleasant for people to deal with. Okay, so he's going to trade. He's going to trade, okay. Yeah, not bad. Okay. All right, I'll trade. Send you back to where you came from. And now my bishop can come out. And this kind of position is usually a matter of technique. I was just going to play F3, but should I play Bishop A4? Bishop A3, I mean. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. And that, and that, and that. I think the rook has to go back. Or he has to give me an exchange or something, which I can't complain about. think this is not going to end well for one of us. Hakecito. Fans rise to their feet, anticipating another clean sweep. Is it possible? Woo woo! Can he do it again? Yeah, I'm feeling confident now. Woohoo! Wow. Okay. I don't know how many games that was, but clean sweep. All right. Maybe next time I'll play. I don't know, D4, C4. All right. Next time I won't play E4 and see what happens. I'll do something a little different because, yeah, I feel like I'm getting to be a little bit mean, winning every game. So, um, gotta gotta mix it up a little bit. But anyway, that was fun for me. Winning is fun, but it's nice uh, to see all you guys come out to play and take me on. And it's well, it gives me a little bit of practice because I so rarely play any kind of chess these days, and blitz chess even less often. So it's kind of a fun little tune-up for me to get to take these challenges and. Thank you all for coming out, and hope to see a lot of you guys again next month. And yeah, keep coming out for ICC's Banter Blitz. I'm Joel Benjamin. Thanks, and so long.